Hello and welcome back to Zug's Guides on Broadside Gaming. If you've liked my guide so far, please, like, subscribe, ring that little bell. It really helps us, guys. So today I'm going to be having a look at Kerillian and her Shade career, which is my favourite career on Kerillian, and it's the one that I've put the most time into. So the Shade is very different from her base career of the Waystalker, which is very ranged focus and sniping. The Shade is all about up close, personal, and backstabs. It's all about the backstabs. So with the Shade, her ultimate ability is obviously stealth and deleting elites. You are in the group to delete super armor. So Chaos Knights, Ungors, Black Rats, anything really, anything that is going to upset the group or cause problems, you are there to delete it. So the build I'm running is more of her frontline build. So I'd say this is more of an entrance build to the Shade. There are two that I like to run, but this is the more simple one to get used to it with. So, Bleak Vigor, melee critical strikes and headshots restore 2 temporary health, critical headshots restore twice as much. You are stacking a lot of crit on this build, so this is going to really help you farm that temporary health. Cruelty increases critical strike damage bonus by 50%. It's just, is what it is. Really nice. Big pile of crit damage bonus. It's the bread and butter for this build. Assassin deal 20% more damage to staggered enemies. Each hit against a staggered enemy adds another count of stagger. This is really good. So when your team are fighting them face on, shield bashing, knocking, pushing around, this is going to give you more damage to delete those elites. Vanish. Killing an enemy with a backstab grants you stealth for 3 seconds. This is actually amazing because, as I said, you're going to be frontlining on this build, which means you're going to be horde clearing at the front, weaving backwards and forwards, trying to funnel things into the group. This is going to help you not get completely overrun, because every time you kill an enemy with a backstab, you disappear and they ignore you, which lets you just flank in from the side and keep going at them. Blood Drinker, critical hits reduce damage taken by 20%. It's just damage reduction. Who doesn't like damage reduction? And Cloak of Mists, infiltrate cooldown reduced by 45%. After leaving stealth, Kerillian gains 100% melee critical strike chance for 4 seconds, but no longer the damage bonus. So usually, infiltrate gives you a huge damage bonus, but this trades it off for 100% crit chance, which means you can basically stealth up, attack one, and then just keep heavy attacking until that patrol or that group of elites is just not there anymore. So for this build, I highly recommend only using the Sword and Dagger or the Elven Spear. This build isn't suited to dual daggers, and dual swords is just not great on Kerillian. I've tried it out, not great on Shade, sorry. I've tried it out. You just don't have the armor killing potential with dual swords. They're amazing for wave clearing, so if that's what you want to do, then by all means, but you're not going to have the ability to just delete the armor. So for this, I would always stick with Sword and Dagger or the Elven Spear. And as you can see in the inventory, I do have duplicates of a lot of the weapons. It's because on the Shade, she requires completely different stats to the Handmaiden or the Waystalker. So on all of her weapons, I've got crit chance and crit power with swift slaying. But on the Waystalkers, I'm running attack speed, block cost reduction. And if you've seen my videos before, you know how much I love block cost reduction. But on the Shade, you don't want it. You want to not be getting hit by utilising your ultimate and your talents. And again, on the Elven Spear, crit chance, crit power, swift slaying. The Elven Spear is a little bit more difficult to use for, say, boss runs, so doing Into the Nest, Hell Scourge, or any of that. You don't quite have as much killing potential as you would do with the Sword and Dagger or the dual daggers. But for headshots and horde clearing, it is really nice, and also it's quite a fun weapon to use. I do switch over to it every now and again just to break up the monotony of using the same weapon, but I always go back to the Sword and Dagger though, because it's just a really versatile weapon on her. And for the ranged weapon, because of the new DLC, I've been using the Moonbow. Yeah, it's the Moonfire bow. It should be a Sunfire bow, but I'm not going to get into that. It's just the lore nerd in me. So the Moonfire bow, you get 4.5 heavy, drawn out shots from it. I would use this mostly to weaken up hordes before they get to you, and then go in there and start wreaking havoc. And always remember on Kerillian, well, on the Shade, you can vanish to avoid sticky situations. And if there's a Chaos Warrior bearing down on you, just vanish, wait till he turns around, and then jump straight back in and finish him off. So I'll quickly go over the stat weights that I'm using. So as you've seen on the weapon, crit power and crit chance with Swift Slaying. On the bow, power versus infantry and power versus Skaven. On the necklace, I'm using 20% health and block cost reduction with bark skin. On the dual dagger build, I do use a different setup, but this is, as I said, this is a more frontline, getting used to the Shade build. On the charm, we've got power versus infantry and crit power, and I'm using concoction, as this build really benefits from being able to use all 3 potions at once with a speed potion, strength potion, and concentration potion. You can go a bit crazy and pull off some really funny things with them. And on the trinket, I'm using curse resist and crit chance because this is my legend trinket. And again, I'm using shrapnel, so you can lob a bomb at a boss, get them to take 20% more damage, pop vanish, and just jump up behind them and stab them. It's all about stacking that damage up and stacking the debuffs so you can basically delete bosses really quickly. But yeah, so this has just been my quick guide to Kerillian's frontline build. So I hope you've enjoyed the guide, guys, and if you have, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out, and I'll be doing more guides shortly. So thank you very much. See you all later.